Take that in, people, because we're on a Mr. Toad's wild ride through this paradigm shift. This is Shaman Wendi and Galactic Shaman Missy Hill. Excuse me, Wendi Morrison. Yes, Morrison. Yes, Morrison! And there's a reason why I preface that. We're going to talk today. We're going to talk today about what the heck is going on. We're going to also let it be known to our Starseed community that we need to step up. Yes, indeed, we already spun around this trip and we thought it was our time to sit back and let everybody else hash it out. But we have been called to step back in as elder reinforcements for the Patriots. And this whole movement, it's not just even defined at Patriots, but this movement of awakening, whoever's carrying the torch in the front now, that's their business. But our job is to decipher information, figure out how this all plays into the merging of the three-dimensional and fifth-dimensional realities, bridging through the fourth, which is what we do as indigo starseeds, which the preponderance of us are, whether we identify with that or not. That is the front line of tearing down the system, which is right where we are, kiddos. And it's exciting. It's an exciting time. Yeah. So Missy and I are going to kind of break this down and just see if it can make a little bit more sense moving forward. And yes, we've had an hour of trying to get the damn computer working for us because you know how that is to be targeted. Whoop, 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 whoop. So what used to be an obstacle is just a mere pulling of a splinter out of our finger. So yay, Missy! We got
Morrison, it. Jim Morrison, Van Morrison. It's got to be the musical thing. I don't know what you said, Morrison.
No, the reason why I brought it up is it's the Druids. Morrison is, the Druids. It's and that's what we're going to talk about. So
that's why I'm wearing this today, because the Emerald Order.
Yes, yep. And I'm the Violet Order. So what we're going to break down for you in the best way we can without having had a lot of time to crunch it and make it super digestible is that all of us on the front line, and I mean Starseeds, have been getting new downloads. We're all being shown that we need to get involved now and help push, got to unite. And looking back to the overview of how all these different dimensions interface with the information that has come through the ages, through all the voicings of the different cultures and races and religions and this and that, which also interface with the above of our galactic human heritage, the lineage that led us to this Earth project. Okay, we can call it a game, a virtual reality game. We can call this an operating system, but in the most organic sense, this was a project. This was created. The Earth project was created in hopes of ending duality, to bring a closure to all the warring throughout the galactic imprints and races and planetary systems that we interface with, which we are all a part of. All of the D.N.A. has been composted down here. This moment is part of the bigger picture that interfaces with everybody's understanding, understanding, and awareness. And even at the lowest level of just instinct, we've got to collectively take all of those who are awake, whether it's the Patriots or the Starseeds. No one is above anything. One of the reasons why, the Lyran race got karmically imposed into a monoframe, literally trapped, okay, karmically, because when the wars in the heavens were taking place, the Lyrans did not want to participate. And because of their actions, a lot of shit went down that kind of like had a reverberation through everybody's planetary systems. And so we were kind of punished. And so it is the Lyran races, the Vegans, whether it's the cat people, the Aryan giants, we're all part of this. The Druids, you're talking about the mineral kingdoms, you're talking about what ultimately is Avalon. And now what we're going to lay out is how the Patriots, JFK, Camelot, all of that, and their biblical interstandings, interface with the galactic history of the Lyran races being the ones that have been put on the front line of this paradigm shift out of the duality gridlock to enable all of us to be able to harmoniously live together and accept each other, kind of like in the bar scene in Star Wars, or any of the
I love that, yeah.
or any of the numerous TV shows and movies that they show you in predictive programming to help season and prepare your mind and your old school bullshit, old school template for where we are moving. At the same time, there is a group which we will call the deep state in this reality, but in the heavens, they are known as the Lucifer Rebellion. I worked with the Arcturians from 1993 to 2001, just before 9/11, in a group of healers. We had meetings once a month that prepared us in multidimensionalism, in understanding what parasites were and the reptilians and everything and all of it and all of our soul purpose. And I'm so grateful that I was chosen to be a part of that, because it makes helping you guys and having lived through what we've already lived through on the front line with pretty much no blueprint, no one to help us get us ready in this reality, except for what we could pull through within us from our original mission, from what our original orders were, and then try to align ourselves with those in our mission team, spread out around the whole damn planet. And we've done that. And thank you, internet. I know you didn't plan on that part of it, but it united us. So there you go. And I know I'm talking a lot because I just do. Uh-oh, I froze. Okay, there I am. Because I do. But I just want to give you a brief construct for which we're going to just jump in on what we've decoded. Everyone's getting downloads right now. Everybody's taking in those downloads and trying to figure out what their orders, how that mission is for them with those orders, and then you double check with everybody else on the front line. Lisa Harrison.
Well, guess what time it is? Here it is 11. Here it is 2:22. So it must be 11:22 where you are.
It's the 11:22 because this is the 11:11. This is what we're doing. Okay, so
and we know Kennedy left us. JFK, President JFK left us on 11/22. That was the date. And that the 11/22 breaks down to the 2:22. And what's interesting is I sent you the video about Camelot yesterday, which was the time code was 2:22. So I just want to get that in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you did, because that just takes me to the next part of this. So So yeah, Kennedy and his lineage through his mother, through the Fitzgeralds, goes back to the beginning. And from what everything has shown, there is a coding, a numerological coding. He's related to the 1111, the 22, and in this moment of integration of the anima and animus, the yin yang, the duality, right? The integration of the masculine and feminine. That's what the yin yang is. That is part of this moment of integration. So they have that signature. They're at the helm when this goes down. Now, the thing that's about to come out, that I know you're going to hear me say this and everybody's going to freak out and reject it, but there's a growing number of us that are, without doubt, we know this to be true. We have had all the signs. We've been following this for months and months and months and months and months as a subgroup of the larger Q movement. The subgroup being all of us from different walks of life, instinctually understanding a narrative that went down, that transpired, that the rest of the world does not yet understand. And that is that JFK Jr. was protected, that lineage was protected by the Jesuits. They stepped in to protect the planet, the future of the planet and humanity, by protecting him. Once certain factions, whom we can't really say, but you know, people who were being called to answer now, had put a hit out on him. And so they faked his death. He's been preparing to avenge, not just in the three-dimensional reality of avenging his father's death, but being the torchbearer of the Druids from the beginning, from Lyra, who the royal bloodlines of Lyra, the royal family of Lyra, to release humanity from the mono frame that we were locked in. And this is what's happening. So I know that sounds like it's crazy, but go to Twitter and just hashtag JFK Jr. lives, and you just go down that rabbit hole, okay? Because it's there. I've done the research for months and months and months and months. Nobody told me it was there. I followed my own instincts. I have my own backstory with regard to JFK Jr. in terms of relating to that. So I know that all this is going on. And this is what we're going to break down. So Missy, it's the return to Camelot. It's King Arthur. It's Guinevere. It's Sir Lancelot. It's the removing of the sword. It's Jesus. It's Judas. It's Mary. You know, on different timelines, these are the same players. We've understood that, right? I mean, we've come to understand that as Starseeds through our own understanding of timeline manipulations and so on and so forth.
So on soul groups, it may be different, which means JFK Senior. I'm not that much into the pieces of JFK Jr. I don't have those pieces, but
no. I'm just talking
Senior.
about,
I do, because
yeah.
I did that radio show Galactic Earth Fusion. I always played Kennedy's speech. I always see 11:22 on the clock. I'm connected with others in a group here in this area that are very connected to JFK, and also the Rat Pack and different actors of that timeline, and the 222 and all that. And last year I had, we stayed at the Camelot in Las Vegas, and that whole Lear and Vegan piece came in, and how Vega connects with Vegas and vegan, right? And the Luxor was actually the white hole, or no, the black hole. The black hole, and I got that Egypt was the white hole, which means Las Vegas is the ancient portal,
Yep.
it's the feminine, and Egypt is the masculine, and how that connects into Lyra and Vega.
Yep.
And so this whole Kennedy theme, Kennedy being part of the soul, group soul of Arthur and Camelot. So that would be like maybe JFK Jr. would actually be Arthur, the one that would be pulling the sword out of the stone, because it was Arthur that pulled the sword out of the stone. And we know that the United States was originally the template for what's called also the New Jerusalem, and it got off track. And part of what, you know, Trump is doing is, you know, that's all part of, and even Yellow Rose for Texas put out a new one, and it came out on 2/17. And I told you that 2/17 was important, you know, the date of the property. I know somebody who has a wedding anniversary that day in the 400s. That was when Giordano Bruno was burned alive, and all that has to do with, you know, the Catholic Church and things like that. So there's just a lot of different pieces coming together. Like the storyline doesn't have to be exact, but, you know, it just came out. Another person put out a radio show. Sethicus Bozo was talking about a little bit about Lancelot, how he was not necessarily the total good guy. Not everything's cut and dry with good, bad, right, wrong. It's all upside down, inverted. But another side is, if Lancelot was the betrayer of the sacred union, if Guinevere and Arthur were, you know, together in sacred union, Lancelot coming in would be like Jesus, Mary Magdalene, and Judas. It would be that same. The story's a little bit different, but this is the other awareness I had.
Well,
I saw Aquaman recently.
Wait 1 second. I'm sorry, but it's that Trinity, regardless of where
the Trinity.
It's placed. It's that Trinity that we're looking at. You know, go ahead.
And in Aquaman being the king of the Emerald Order, in the movie he was named Arthur, and he was wearing green. So I was seeing the Emerald Order, and he had the trident. And of course you're connected with the trident, Neptune's daughter, but seeing the threefold flame, and also it being a particle accelerator like the Ankh, where it works with the three primal sound fields and brings things into form through those three primal sound fields. The gold ray, you know, which is the gold ray family, which is the golden, the magenta, which is the amethyst order, or the violet flame, and the emerald order, which is the blue ray family, you know, which is the one that I'm most connected to, is that blue ray.
That's the cosmic trinity: the emerald order, the amethyst order, and the gold order of the Raw Confederacy. So let me just jump through. Yesterday we had a conversation, which is what sparked, you know, us needing to do this, where it was like, I'm gonna just go through a bunch of quick pieces. So Return to Camelot, where okay.
Which would be a golden age, I think, a time of peace. Camelot, what it represents. Everyone's sitting in circle.
So we're at the 11/11, which is the integration, and Trump's uncle worked for Tesla.
Right.
So they already were doing timeline manipulation and jumping back then. So the book, the Trump Chronicle, what is the Baron?
The Baron Trump, and the Baron is spelled. It's spelled with 2 R's, I think. And the other piece to put in there is Tartaria was a golden age, and Tesla having maybe been Tartarian.
Well, one of the interesting things is you said there's 2 R's in the Trump. Now here's the thing, in Q Talk, R represents JFK. And a way that they give us comms, like communication, like embedded communication, is that they'll give extra letters in words signaling messages to us. So you just confirmed probably the most interesting one that I've heard, and I haven't heard anybody say this, so I'm going to have to bring this up to all the Q people. But yeah,
And I'll have to Google that to make sure I've got it right. But I can't remember in which realities. Yeah, it's in one reality. It's a different art.
Regardless of that, that is showing us that they sent clues and messages back through history to help get us ready and primed for this paradigm shift and what they were doing to release their multi-dimensional level 20-year plan, plus to release humanity from the construct that we've been imprisoned in, the slavery system, the Fed, the IRS, the feeding off of negativity and divisiveness and hating on each other. And like, we're not those people, man. We are freaking good people. We have hearts. We love our animals. We love our neighbors.
I love my animal. My
me too, man. And I'm not gonna just let them do this. And I'm gonna love people regardless of if they hurt me or hate me. I might turn away from them, but I want to retain humanity, and that's what we're doing. That's what us starseeds were called to do. That's why we're here. And I don't care how damn exhausted we are, and believe me, we've been hit right and left. We've been targeted individuals our entire life, but we have to come out and we have to push forward and make this thing happen. So getting back to this, the evolution revolution is in the mind. We're in a revolution, but it's of the consciousness. The war, World War III, is a revolution of them targeting our consciousness. They have targeted our consciousness through vaccines, through geoengineering, through the sun and weather manipulation, through CERN, as you brought up earlier. They've created zombies that can't think, geoengineering, GMOs. They have literally,
ELFs,
they have literally mutated anyone that was born from 1993 forward with new mutated, genetically modified organisms that have changed them dramatically. They because of that, because they're trying to diminish the alpha man gene, they have targeted the hormonal aspects, and subsequently through glyphosate, the Roundup and everything else that's in our environment, they've hormonalized men down and women amped up with testosterone. And this is like all been—
that's also bringing transgender too. We know that.
Absolutely, all the trans. And here's the deal. This was all for money. They knew that they were doing this. This was all for money. And here's the trick. You got to hit them with the legalities. They know law. They create law. So you have to use law against them. And if we all were to turn and sue them for what they've done to genetically modify people, literally, they have to write these laws that make it legal for all this stuff to go down. Otherwise, they are legally liable for it. Now, here's the deal. They are legally liable for it in the spiritual court of all that is, and law of one, and Christ consciousness, and I don't care what part of that you are. If you are heart-centered and you love, then that's who I'm talking to. See it how you want to see it. I don't care. I don't care if you're a Hindu. I don't care if you're a Muslim. I don't care if you're a Christian. I don't care if you're born again Christian. I don't care if you're Jewish. I don't care if you're purple with pink blood. No, we do have pink blood. Okay, I'm going too far. But anyway.
We don't care if you're a Viking. We don't care if you're
I don't care if you're a giant.
You're a pagan. What about a witch?
Here's the deal. I don't care if you're a vampire. I don't care if you're a draconian. I have draconian blood because anybody who's from the Lyran race has aspects of Draco in them, as well as all the peeps here. Hello, you all have a reptilian brain. We are reptilian hybrids. So you can't You can't hate on everybody of anything. That's what duality gridlock is. That's what got us here. You have to judge each person by the character and the heartfelt love and respect that they have for themselves and for each other. And that's what this is about. We have to focus on that. Part of the integration is doing that. Love thy neighbor. Love your family and brother. It's so damn simple, and it's taken a lifetime for many of us to understand this in such a way to be ready to help everybody else. And I know it's scary, you guys, but we have to find the neutrality to heal this race through this process. This is what the dragon energy is. This is, you know, dragon energy. Yeah, it's serpent energy. Again, that's part of Draco. But I mean, dragon is all connected to the druids. It's all connected to the mythology of
Uther Pendragon. That,
yes.
I woke up with that name in my head today. Uther Pendragon.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. And you know what? The other thing is that that's what Watership Down was trying to say. It's like,
oh, I loved it.
I know, it's so precious. It's like, it doesn't matter what part of the rabbit race you believe. It doesn't matter if you're the cow on the farm or you're the chicken on the farm or whatever part you play on the farm, because this is a damn farm. We all have to work together to save the farm. We all have to work together to save the planet. This is our home. We have that beautiful thing in common. This is our home, and she's alive, and she loves us, and she's pissed, man. Kali Ma is my ma, and she's pissed. She needs us to fight for her. She's done wiping our butts. And you know what? We have to grow up now, guys. We have to be big pants people.
Well, I think it's more we really have to fight for ourselves, because I think she'd be just fine without us. So it's
well,
not about fighting for her, but it's fighting for the human race to be in alignment with what is going on with, you know, when this is a battle of our mind. So when the mind gets right in sync with the heart, you know, in that 0 point energy within ourselves, then we'll shift this holographic Russian doll matrix out of Groundhog Day, Groundhog Day into the true reality that we can all co-create, because that's really what it's about, is getting the mind right with the heart.
Absolutely.
You know, and in an instant we could have that 100th monkey, and we could change the Fibonacci sequence and the golden mean, the distorted particle spin of what that ratio was supposed to be, into the 0 point crystal star, which is the true Fibonacci. Fibonacci is a little bit distorted in the way that it is, you know, and that's that whole thing with the 11th Stargate and recoding what's called the Albion body, which is the masculine body, and the Cathar body, which is the feminine principle, which is also the Holy Grail. It's the Magi Grail lines, and it's we want the sacred union, the marriage between those two. That's what that whole Arthur Camelot story is about. And see, the United States or America, this part of where we are in the Northern Hemisphere, was supposed to be a template for that. And it got off track right away, you know, right after it was purchased. That was what Washington, D.C. was about. You know, the Vatican owned this whole world. I mean, and we haven't known that for a long time. That's what Yellow Rose for Texas just broke down in her latest one.
Right.
You know, that.
Well, and the other thing you brought up, you know, the 11th Stargate, which is basically
Stonehenge.
Yeah. So we are a part of the 11th Stargate, at least from what I know from my own being a part of the Amethyst Order. We're connected to the 11th Stargate, and from what our mission is that this is a rehab. This place is a rehab for the Anunnaki hybrid fallen angelic race lines, the fallen 11D lines from Avion, became the fallen seraphim.
And I'm drinking Avion.
Perfect.
Avion.
And the Avion lines.
Right.
For the fallen seraphim, the Anunnaki, the elephant, you know what I'm saying, hybrid lines, as well as the fallen Draco lines. And yes, you know, the Amethyst order is directly connected to the Cetacean, so the dolphin people, mermaid people, and the Avion, speaking of your water, Pegasus people.
Right,
so,
yeah.
And
that comes from Lisa Renee's Ascension Glossary.
I was just going to say, this comes from Lisa Renee's Ascension Glossary. And the Amethyst order is ancient master builders and architects of the Master Christos collective that protect Law of One, Ascension, path to sovereignty. And I just want to mention that my catchphrase, you know, my little quote that I have hashtag on all my stuff, and my blog, my writing blog, is called "We Are the Architects of a New Reality," and that came to me in 1999, and I didn't really understand what it meant, but it became my motto from then forward. And now, you know, here we are through all these things, and it's quite clear that you know, we have to listen to what's inside of us. The older souls, we're coded for our memories, to know our mission, to understand all the working pieces. And the more we are able to disconnect from being participants in this reality, as you know, as opposed to being the guides and the enlightened ones that came back to insert ourselves to help guide people out of the reincarnation, you know, trap cycle that was imposed. But we can't take this place seriously. I mean, literally, it's, you gotta assert your mind. And I mean, I think that that's what every one of us going through these dark nights of the soul, and especially with this full moon right now, this quintessential super moon, full moon in Virgo, is finally exfoliating the last elements that were fractalized within us of the old 3D reality. And every freaking timeline and every chapter has been closed. And you can either get stuck in that and die. I mean, literally, it will kill you very shortly, because I just went through it. And when I was resisting, well, not resisting, but when I was taking it seriously and personal and not seeing the bigger picture that was happening, it was killing me. Once I got slammed so many times down that I almost felt that I was on the brink of death, and those closest to me know that I was in critical condition.
That's why in that show, the Russian doll, they keep showing the death over and over again and having to come back. And also in that Black Mirror Bandersnatch,
which I couldn't watch that.
I know it was a lot of MK Ultra stuff, but it was a good way to break down all that MK Ultra. But how it was interactive for people that feel called to watch it, where it will make the choice for you.
Right.
It's a default setting.
Oh my God.
Even if you don't, yeah.
Well,
either way, he ends up dying. Not to give the whole thing away, because what they're trying to show is this is just a simulation, and we're playing this out over and over again, like War of the Worlds or whatever. It's like that's constant. It's a game over and over and over. Yeah. But we're done playing. We don't want to play a game anymore.
And that's what the movie Cloud Atlas shows too, in kind of a more poetic way, you know, of how we just keep looping around doing things with the same group of people over and over again, until we figure it out, you know. So so yeah, the game master, the prime creator, whoever that is, because none of us really know. We can feel the connection to whatever
the
that
man
is.
in the white room in the Matrix, which they call the architect. I guess. Remember Neo? He's all these TV screens, and he's already. It's predictive programming. They know how he's going to react. So we've been a study.
That's another thing that we fail to acknowledge fully, is that we're co-creators of this. So the 100th monkey that you mentioned before, and yes, I'm so glad you prefaced the Russian doll thing. I'm just trying to give people as many little clues of things they can watch that'll really help them to wrap, if you're just kind of waking up, of things that we've already discerned are really helpful in sort of breaking this down to your consciousness to comprehend what multidimensionalism is and what parallel and multidimensional realities are and interplanetary realities, because this is complex stuff, kids. Woo! So, and it does directly relate to how the human race is manipulated through the right and left paradigm of the political globalist versus
ridiculous,
the other. I don't even know. It's like so fragmented at this point in time because everything's been shattered. It's all been shattered. We're in full-on chaos, which is the best time to be in, because when you're in full-on chaos, you're up against a wall and there's no more pussyfooting around. You figure things out pretty quick or you die. It's that simple. I see where we're at no different than when the pioneers came across, the West, and who knew what was out here? It was like Indians. It was craziness. So we didn't know there was like thieves on the pirates and all these crazy things that were out there to hurt us, bears and no food and no water, and the naive city folk coming out going, but you either you learn to adapt or you don't move forward. And we are at that quintessential moment where we as a species, as a human race, are being called to let that leap in consciousness happen, this integration of the 1111, of the yin yang, of the duality, gridlock, releasing that architecture that we've been stuck in for millennia. I mean, time does not exist, so you can't even look at time. Okay, so Missy brought up an interesting video that she shared from Robert Suffer on YouTube, who's awesome. If you don't subscribe to his YouTube channel, Robert Suffer, you can just Google him, because I'm not sure what that's what his channel's called anymore, because he's had to go through a few channels, but he gives you,
I don't know.
along with, oh gosh, I can't think of what the other woman's name is. Did you turn me on to her? The woman that is, I don't know if she's Croatian or Hungarian or something. No, you didn't turn me on to her. Somebody else did. But anyway, she's really good too. I'll put the links down to her stuff. But the two of them are brilliant at breaking down history in terms of what really went on, not what we've been indoctrinated to believe. So everything about fake news is fake, and we're being shown that for a reason, because everything about history is fake. Everything about history is fake. From where we came from is fake. We didn't come from this planet. It's all fake. So it's all coming out.
Yeah, that's Ron.
Well, we're in this quintessential moment, and also when the big reveal comes about, Mr. 1111 himself, Mr. 1122 himself, upcoming, and it's close. We don't know ever when anything is, because this is a fluid game. So the collective decides what's going to happen. When it's going to happen, the collective has decided it. And like Missy brought up, the 100th monkey will shift it and lock it into place. And then the new templates will be moving through the whole species, and everybody will adapt at once. And we're getting really close to that critical mass. I mean, the Starseeds have been holding the line for like decades, just waiting for everyone else to get ahead. And so we've been exhausted.
Finally, yeah.
Yeah, we needed
we're
to
ready to get this.
Yeah. So like it's kind of quintessential of what I just went through. Like the last thing I want to do is get dragged back into any hardcore battle. So the best thing we can do is to help them understand and learn and grow as fast as possible in the discernment aspects, in polarization, mirroring, hypocrisies. You don't want to mirror hypocrisies. It is sometimes important to mirror, but you got to do it in a way that's more balanced. You have to you can't hate each other. You got to love the enemy, right? You got to love him because he's sick.
Right, but you don't have to participate. You just love them. Yeah,
he, she, they, it. They're sick. They're sick. They've been programmed, and they deserve the right to have the opportunity to awaken and be healed, just like an alcoholic does, and
right.
Which is not to say we excuse their actions, right? But we'll deal with that later. If we can't
bring back the organic human as opposed to
evict compassionate heart.
Evict the demonic shadow creatures and negative spirits and everything that's non-human has to be evicted.
Absolutely, because if you're polarizing on something that the other side is doing, that's something that you're supposed to see inside yourself that you haven't worked on. That's your mirror. You might in your head think I'm going to show them, but you're not. You're literally showing yourself, because they wouldn't even bother you, right, if you didn't have to work on that. And I have a flying cat through the room. Excuse me. No.
Hi.
Evil.
No, cats are great. Cats are just having fun. They're having fun, but
come on, hurry up. Oh my God, hurry up. I swore to God no cats were going to do this, but
well, of course the Lyrans have to make Krishna. Is that Krishna?
No, it's Vishy. It's Vishnu.
Vishnu. Of course the cats have to make their appearance.
Well,
you're so lethargic.
Monster.
And stormy. It's Soda and Stormy here in Vision. We had to do this. I think on that note, I think we should maybe do Soda, they're very lethargic today. I think this moon affected them and made them tired instead of, write that down.
So one last thing I wanted to say is that, socialism is really not socialism for this new wave we're seeing. It's more like Marxism and fascism. Fascism, yeah.
It's an ism.
It's an ism.
So an ism is not organic to who we are. It's non-freedom. It's non-freedom and non-sovereignty, and it's the hive mind. Well, it's definitely a hive mind mentality.
Oh yeah. But the thing that you have to really, everybody has to remain key on is that this whole movement of people is the deep state way of ushering in Agenda 21, transhumanism, cloning, AI technology, chipping, all of it. That is how they're going to do it. They have targeted, it's like they've weaponized a whole gigantic group of people who they GMO'd from birth. And so they've triggered.
And they mind control through the ELF, the extremely low frequencies, and through the power grid. It goes out through the power grid into the ley lines. That's why we don't have the Tesla electricity, and we have AC instead of the direct current. That's why it was that way, because they can weaponize that. And that's how they all the GMOs is like the seeds, and then the fertilization of the soil is that grid, that power grid.
Well, and all the architecture leading up, you know, I mean, again, this is where, as a child, I was part of the beta program. All the MK Ultra stuff, whether it's military, whether it's through the film industry, whether it's through the music industry, connected to all the pedophilia, which is connected to the Luciferianism and Satanism. All of these aspects, all of these components were embedded into our subconscious, layer upon layer upon layer, for generations leading up to where we are now, to enslave us. Now, at one point, they just, from, like I said, starting in 93, they just started to genetically alter us so that they didn't have to control us through these old school, you know, lower level, you know, analog systems. Those were like the analog systems. The systems now with the frequency, you know, everything digital, and the smart meters and everything triggered through frequencies, and then weather manipulation, like Missy just said, that's the new online.
Right. Yeah, but from the ground, and now the 5G, they want to do it from the sky. So they want to have it below you and above you. And then there's, if that went through, there's no escaping it. You can't get, you can't.
And that's what we can't let happen. I mean, the 5G grid is going to fry everybody. I mean, that's why they're okay with that, because whoever can handle it, they'll just keep them as slaves. And, you know, and then put another working class slave system that are all robots. And then,
that hive mind. Yeah.
And then the elites will have their queen, you know.
Insectoid. There's the queen bee, not bees, but like the worker.
The royal, whoever.
That's why there's a drones.
Yeah.
That's why they call those things that fly around drones, because that's But anyway,
So this has been
so much going on. We're going to have another update.
Yeah, we will. We just wanted to
breaking it down. Yeah, it's been so long. It's been a couple of years since we even did this. It's like we have to come out of hiding now. Yeah.
Like a whole nother reality. Well, I just wanted to do this because we got so many things tied together in our conversation yesterday. And, you know, I'm not saying that everybody's going to understand all this stuff that we've thrown out, but there are people that will understand it, and they need to kind of hear this to ground themselves. And really, honestly, this isn't about Trump, so don't worry about that part. But it is about JFK Jr. and the Lyran race and the lineage of the Druids. And if you interface with any part of that, the fairy kingdom, if you're drawn to crystals, this is all part of the same narrative. It's where our core singularity
is. It may not even look like it on the surface, because a lot of these people don't even necessarily know who they are. So other people can see who they are, even though they don't know who they are. They just know they're drawn to do a certain mission. Right. But then when they look at the other timelines, then they can see, oh, they were this person and that, or connected, not that person, but connected to that storyline or that soul group or whatever in another timeline, because it's all happening in simultaneous time.
Exactly. And the point is that you have to listen to yourself. You know, where are you drawn? What do you know that you have no way to know? You know, what like when I was a kid, I just ached for Ireland, man. When I saw pictures of Ireland and Scotland, my heart bled. Why would I was born and raised in Los Angeles. It just makes no sense. So these are the things when you then, you know, grow, your spiritual and your soul awareness grows, and you begin to get closer to your oversoul's memories, your Akashic memories, and so on and so forth.
Right.
Then you can tie all these timelines together, and then, you know, you get a better picture of your mission, your overview.
Right.
So this is where we're going, kids, and just do your work. Don't be afraid. No fear, man. There is nothing to be afraid of. This is an amazing cleansing moment. And yeah, let it go.
We're going.
Everyone's singing, let it go, let it go. You know,
let it go and let it flow, let it blossom.
Well, I'm more of a rock girl. So there's a Queens of the Stone Age song, "Go with the Flow." So I'm headbanging to go with the flow right now.
Right. Yeah.
Go with the flow. Anyway, all right. Anything else, baby girl?
Not right now.
All right. I'm gonna tone us out.
Good.
And you know, I might add that your cats have stayed asleep, you know, pretty much the whole time. I'm so glad we are so boring to them. All right. We love you guys. Keep up the good work. We're getting closer. I know it's been forever, but trust, okay? Trust. There is a jubilee at the end of this rainbow, kiddos. You just wait, okay? I'm going to say I told you so, and I don't like doing that, but it's coming. Trust with your heart. Think with your mind. Be aware. Discern everything, and try to stay neutral. Neutral. Love you, Missy.
Love you too.
And here we go. And so it is.
So it is.
Shante. Bye, guys.